What's good, everybody? It's Batman, and we're going to be checking out a video from Six. It's been a hot minute. It's been a really good while since we've actually checked out Six's videos. So we're going to be getting into this, and it's Healthy Itachi versus Madara, the real winner. Now, I'm gonna be real. You could if you're good enough, you could probably be able to formulate arguments somehow, some way, for Itachi to beat Madara, whatever type vibes, whatever you name it. Obviously, it depends on the Madara you're talking about. There's certain Madaras that I just really believe Itachi's just not fucking with. Period. But overall, no matter what, just narratively and just if you really analyze everything completely, Itachi just unfortunately doesn't really have a way to pull a W on Madara. He's just not to that level. You know what I mean? He's kind of within the ballpark between with Nagato and Obito and stuff like that. He's not really on that next gap, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Overall, for what I know, memory-wise, knowledge, etc., and basically what you're working with. So, in a nutshell, I'm pretty sure he's probably also going to be under that notion as well. If Madara does beat Itachi, but it's interesting how he's going to analyze it, what he's going to talk about. We'll see what happens. We'll get into it, and let's see what Six's thoughts are for Itachi versus Madara. I'm assuming this is probably MS Madara or EMS. I don't know which one he's going to be referring to, but we'll see how that goes as well. So, all right.
Common response would be, well, but what if Itachi was healthy though? What if Itachi didn't have that sickness? Then how would the fight really go? And a lot of people are like, well, we never saw a healthy Itachi. Whenever Itachi is healthy, bro, he should be unstoppable. He should be a menace. He could take down any Uchiha. And I think that not only have we sort of seen a healthy Itachi, we also should have a pretty good gauge on how strong he would be, especially in comparison to Madara, whenever you actually read through the story.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'll acknowledge right off the whip. We definitely have seen healthy Itachi. Definitely have seen healthy Itachi. So just keeping it a buck, you know what I mean? I'm keeping it real with you guys. But yeah, no, that's for absolutely without a doubt we have. We kind of see him in the beginning when he first appears, and Edo Itachi as well is basically what you would have for, healthy with no sickness and shit. So obviously not full power, but that's as close as you'll really get when it comes to healthy Itachi, to be real with you.
So the main thing about Itachi would obviously be his spirit weapons and genjutsu. I don't think a lot of people think too much that Itachi is putting the hands on Madara, even when he's healthy, right? I think people mostly get the idea that, oh, Yadamir can block anything, Tosuke Blade can seal anything, and Tsukuyomi can just instantly wipe people off the face of the earth by, mentally crippling them. The thing about Itachi and most of the statements for a lot of his gear and a lot of his abilities, I'm gonna just be 100% blatant, not gonna make anyone wait at all. They're pretty much all outdated. The biggest example of this would be the Yada mirror. The mirror, the shield that can deflect anything by altering its physical properties. Those specific statements come from either Fan Book 2 or Data Book 3, both of which precede Madara's introduction into the manga. And Data Book 3, on the back of it, directly tells you that it's only talking about information prior to volume
I like
40.
the edit that he has. That's really unique in my opinion. He has the character that he's talking about, and then he has the whole edit, kind of animation thing going on the right side. That's pretty cool. So it's very different, compared to the normal, generic go-to type of, edits and animations while people are talking and scaling Naruto, with a commentary over.
3. So anything past volume 43, you really can't apply the information in Data Book 3 to, unless it gets repeated later on down the line, right? We know that in Data Book 3, Kakashi can use Kamui, but we also know that after volume 43, Kakashi can use Kamui. So a lot of the things you can't retroactively apply because the data book tells you what its knowledge is limited to. But that's gonna be the main premise going into this video. I would appreciate if you would, subscribe to the channel or leave a like on the video. Obviously helps the channel out a lot. About Itachi versus Madara, when it comes to Itachi's main gear, like I said, a lot of the statements are outdated, and then they get superseded by later statements that either say Madara is the strongest Uchiha, or if not outright stated, they just very heavily imply it. Now, it's important to establish a variant of Madara that we're talking about, because nobody talks about Itachi versus MS Madara from the Warring States period. No one talks about Itachi versus Kid Madara. The main debates are Itachi versus either EMS Madara whenever he fought Hashirama in the final valley, or Itachi versus Edo Madara whenever he was obviously revived.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. Itachi's not fucking with Edo. He's not fucking with EMS Madara either. I'm just being real with you. That's not happening. MS Madara is interesting. Kid Madara, you know, I'd probably give that to Itachi. But what's it called? Better than that, like anything else above, like he's not fucking with that. He's not doing it, bro.
I'm not gonna be going over any Itachi versus Jubi Madara or Sage Madara, Live Madara with the Rinnegan, none of that stuff, because Itachi has absolutely, to my knowledge, zero way to counter Limbo at all. So I don't think that fight's even really worth entertaining for the most part. As well as like he's not beating Jubi Madara. It's just, I think that's going too far at that point. So when you put Itachi up against healthy Itachi, by the way, we're going to be talking about mostly healthy Itachi throughout the entire video. I'm obviously going to have to bring up feats from sick Itachi and Edo Itachi because healthy Itachi doesn't exist. But when I mention them, just know that you should upscale them a little bit because I'm talking about healthy Itachi. So whenever Itachi's doing something, the common thing to go into an Itachi fight with is Itachi is holding back and toying with this person. That is completely fair. That's a completely fair mindset going into reading an Itachi fight, because most of the fights we see, we either have a direct statement that he's holding back, or you can just imply it through some form of like a Konoha spy argument. The only fight where it seems Itachi didn't show enough restraint was whenever he put Kakashi under Tsukuyomi. That move has always been a little bit weird to me. Like, I don't know why he decided that he was gonna mentally cripple Kakashi, but whatever. So that's the only time Itachi didn't show what I would say is enough restraint to show that he's like actually holding back. In the fight though, he does constantly bring up how he doesn't want to stay too long because him and Kisame aren't there to start a war, whatever. So then you get to Itachi versus Sasuke, in which directly stated by Obito, hey look, Itachi was holding back on you. And then it's implied with Zetsu throughout the whole fight, hey, Itachi is holding back. Why is Itachi getting hit by attacks that Itachi shouldn't be getting hit by? It's also sort of apparent that Itachi's holding back on Sasuke as the fight progresses, because Itachi later pulls out his Susanoo while he's blind, and he kills Orochimaru extremely quickly in his strongest form, where Orochimaru in just base is stronger than Sasuke, even with Orochimaru absorbed.
Yeah. That Orochimaru absolutely makes him like a laughing stock. Like, not only that, like while Orochimaru was extremely fatigued and sick and everything, like in bed, whatnot, bed rested, he literally still beat heavy Sasuke with CM2. He still beat him, bro. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, you know, there you go. You know what I mean? Like, it's just really that fucking simple. While Itachi, while like fucking crippled and super sick on his deathbed, completely blind, can still speed blitz and one shot Orochimaru. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, come on.
Because we do know Sasuke's Orochimaru absorption does not amplify him physically. What it mainly does is give him like regen and access to new jutsu. Yeah. Because Sasuke is sitting there, this in the Itachi fight, he's sitting there completely out of chakra. He's sitting there completely out of chakra, no chakra at all. And Orochimaru busts out of him in his strongest form we've ever seen. The data book said this is literally Orochimaru's strongest form we've ever seen. So it's impossible that Sasuke is as strong as Orochimaru. I mean, he even admits that himself, right? Like, he says the only reason I beat Orochimaru is because he was sick. So it just becomes apparent that Itachi was holding back on Sasuke whenever he beats Orochimaru, because Orochimaru is just clearly stronger than Sasuke. And Itachi at this point, he has no Sharingan on, and he's in his Susanoo, just easily defeats Orochimaru. Then you get to like the Naruto area, like whenever he encounters Naruto in the forest to give him the crow, extremely clear he's holding back there. He's not even really trying to fight. And then he's holding back in the Kabuto fight in a specific way. Not really that he's not trying his hardest to stop Kabuto, but he's trying his hardest to stop Kabuto without killing Kabuto.
Yeah.
And what that leads to is Itachi never fully manifests.
I do like how he's, what's it called, really kind of like, you know, analyzing Itachi and like the fights where like he basically has to hold back, consider, because a lot of people try to downplay Itachi. As crazy as it is, they like to be disingenuous and basically, you know, say some crazy, atrocious claims and be like, oh, Itachi scales to Sasuke, or Itachi, you know, like he can't even beat Seijumo Kabuto, and all this like this crazy things, you name it, etc., etc. And it's just like it's a bunch of downplay, it's a bunch of bullshit. If you analyze the context, analyze, you know, the statements and feats, etc., like that's just blatantly not the case at all. And even while Itachi's having to hold back and basically backpack the fight with Sasuke against Seijumo Kabuto, he's still like doing an incredible fucking job and giving him a run for his money, while Kabuto wants to kill Itachi and rewrite his tag basically. So like it's just, you know, it's blatantly just very simple and obvious, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people like the bullshit, you name it. And so it's good for him to analyze and kind of shut all that crap down right off the whip, you know, because a lot of people like to do it. So it's honestly, it's a thing, trust me.
To Susanoo in the cave with Sasuke, it's always lower form so that he can either pin Kabuto down or something along those lines. He's never actually going full power on him. The only time we see Itachi sort of go full power on an opponent would be Edo Nagato, and I don't want to get too much into Edo Nagato versus Edo Itachi because I don't want to make this video all about that. Itachi does kind of just beat him up, right? Like regardless of how you think Itachi beat Nagato up, if you don't think he actually scales over him, whatever, that much is perfectly fine. You don't have to think that Itachi is stronger than Nagato. I'm just saying, whenever Itachi did try, we saw him beat Nagato up. He cut his limbs off, and then when he fully manifested his Susanoo, he just stabbed him. That part's a little bit contentious, whether or not you thought Nagato could see through the smoke. I don't think that it's impossible he could see through the smoke, considering the fact that the pains caught Jiraiya's hand while Jiraiya was in the smoke, and that pain couldn't see. So the Rinnegan being able to see through smoke isn't too outrageous, but yeah, I'm just saying. Whenever we see Itachi go all out, fully manifest his...
what's it called? Like, I think the pain has to be like within a certain radius of the smoke and whatnot in order to be able to see, because there are moments where Seijumo Naruto does smoke bombs and Pain's not able to see through the smoke. So he has like his limit. You know what I mean? There's only so much he can see. So that is a thing. Like there is a limit within that. It's blatantly shown and emphasized when Seijumo Naruto fights him, etc. The only time where like he does, you know, interact in the smoke and basically is still able to block an attack and whatnot is against Seijumo Jiraiya, like Six said. But once again, that other Path of Pain was kind of like he's pretty close by and he had like a view of him directly, which is why he was able to defend himself and you name it. So just putting that out there, but you know. So it's not like, oh, that only happened and therefore now he can always see in smoke, whatever. Because if that was the case, then yeah, you could just basically be like, oh yeah, he can clearly you know, see in smoke and whatnot. So there's no way you can use that as an excuse or whatever, yada yada yada. Now, if you analyze the fight with Edo and Nagato and Itachi, what's it called? There's actually many reasons why that even happened to begin with. It's for one, Kabuto's controlling him. Two, it's even stated verbatim that he had a lack of mobility. What's it called? He had no link vision or anything either. It's like a big ass fucking explosion that happened to where basically Nagato can't see anything, or whatever. And he literally just had Nagato standing there. Like Kabuto's a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? That's something Nagato would never do. He's not dumb like that. But overall, like there's a lot of variables, a lot of conditions and context within that fight, which is why it went the way it went. I don't think Itachi blatantly scales over Nagato. Even Six even put that out there. He's like, that's fine if you 100% believe he doesn't even scale over. You know what I mean? Like that's perfect. Like, you know, it's just. And at the end of the day, like if we really analyze that entire fight, like that's just not the case. It's not implied at all. I'm not going to get into Edo Itachi versus Nagato either right now, unless somebody's doing a video on it. But you know, overall, like there's plenty of variables, context, etc. You name it. There was reasons for why the fight went the way it went, and a lot of people try to downplay Nagato for whatever reason when it comes to that fight and say all this crazy shit. You name it. So just putting that out there. But either way, you know, that I do enjoy Six kind of putting, you know, defending Nagato or the whole fight period and basically, you know, basically stating like it's totally reasonable for you to think that they still scale to each other or, you know, whatever, or that Itachi does not scale like completely over or some shit, you know. But at the end of the day, like Six said, Itachi did win. Is what it is, you know what I mean? So you can take that however you want, but Bare minimum, what we definitely do know for a fact is Itachi was trying in that fight. That is 100% legit. So that's what we know for sure. When it comes to the whole Nagato versus Itachi fight, it's very contentious, etc. But that's basically it. So he did a really good job kind of talking about it.
Susanoo, he's obviously, stronger than he would be before. The Tosca Blade is Itachi's #1 asset against Madara, especially Edo Madara, because as we know, Itachi does not have any sealing jutsu that we know of, other than that Tosca Blade. So it's pretty much his like fail safe against Edo Madara, and the only real way that he's going to be able to beat him. Now you could say that he could maybe physically overwhelm EMS Madara, because the Tosca Blade, while it doesn't have to seal you away, it can cut you up. So maybe he could physically overwhelm him with that, but mainly that's going to be the most important thing, because EMS Madara can also absorb a Madarasu, and it's debatable whether or not he can use the Rinnegan to absorb the Susanoo off of Itachi. We see that Madara does say that his Susanoo gets in the way of him absorbing things. That does not necessarily mean that he can't absorb someone else's Susanoo. Maybe it's sort of a restriction thing, like, oh, you can't absorb your own Susanoo. We don't get too much clarification on it, and we do know that the Rinnegan can amplify your Susanoo just by Sasuke being able to block the light from the infinite Tsukuyomi by saying he has this ramped up Rinnegan amped Susanoo. So it's a little bit unclear if Madara could absorb his Susanoo, but he should, at the bare minimum, be able to absorb his Amaterasu. And then Itachi might use Tsukuyomi on Madara, but I think it's sort of implied that Itachi needs to build up his chakra a bit if he's going to do a big Tsukuyomi. So we talk about in the fight with Sasuke, we know that Sasuke was able to break Tsukuyomi because it's just directly stated in the data books. Itachi got his Tsukuyomi broken by Heavy Sasuke, who just has a base 3-tomo Sharingan that should be weaker than Madara's at this point, especially weaker than Madara's.
Okay, so I'm gonna immediately just shut that down. So there's a lot of things that data books can actually say and state or whatever, but once again, when it comes to data books, you have to analyze the context. You got to make sure there's no contradictions with any other statements, feats, etc. Blah blah. You name it, and that's actually not true. What's called Kakashi literally states it verbatim that like if you get hit by Itachi, Tsukima, whatever, it's not a matter of resisting genjutsu or breaking or whatever. Like you just can't do it. And the reason why is because Tsukuyomi is a hacks genjutsu. So like your time perception, you know what I mean, is what basically negates the factor of you being able to, like cancel the genjutsu or, outwit it or, basically, cancel like your Sharingan MS, whatever the case may be. Well, if you think somebody can resist genjutsu, whatever. But the problem with Tsukuyomi is that's not a factor. You don't have that privilege. You don't have that benefit. You know what I mean? And instead, like shit can happen in a fucking picosecond or whatever, or just in 2 seconds, and the damage is already done and it's already too late, and you just can't defend yourself. And that's even why Casey and Naruto even tells B, like someone that's a perfect Jinjutiki that basically has like kryptonite counter to counter genjutsu, literally says like if you get hit by a Tsukuyomi or a Madarasu, you're done. That's it. GG. So it's like overall that's just blatantly not true. That's more of a misconstrued type of statement to kind of make everybody believe that's what Sasuke did at that point in current time. There was a lot of things in the data books that actually stated around that point in time that were just not correct and eventually proven wrong right after in the manga, etc. You name it. So there's plenty of examples. I'm not going to get into that or list them, but overall that's just not the case. So Sasuke didn't break out of the Tsukuyomi. What's it called? You could basically either say Itachi let him get out of the Tsukuyomi, or just like, whatever, or like basically give him enough time to maybe be able to break it if you really do want to grant him breaking the Tsukuyomi. So either that and he just let him, or two, like he didn't break it, Itachi just made him think he broke it and he just like kind of like, construed it in a way to where like it seemed like he defeated the genjutsu, whatnot, things like that. So that's basically what you have, you know what I mean? What's it called? But overall, like that's just not the case at all. Like once again, Kakashi even says it. Kakashi also has a 3-tomo. It's literally Obito's fucking Sharingan. Okay, it's Obito's Sharingan, which obviously you could be able to, I fairly, argue and say that would be better than Sasuke's 3-tomo Sharingan, in my opinion. What's it called? And there'd be plenty of evidence to also scale that over and prove that as well. But either way, like it's an interesting thing, but I don't personally think Sasuke broke it. I think that's really weird to say. And if Itachi did a Tsukiyomi, which is instantaneously activated upon you, Itachi could have instantly killed Sasuke, and he didn't. You know what I mean? Like, he had that exact moment, and instead, he either, once again, let Sasuke have plenty of time, and eventually just let him break it, you know, or he deceived him, and he, just kind of, like, basically made the Tsukiyomi, like, you know, not powerful, or just stopped it or whatever, and Sasuke's like, oh, I got out of it, or some shit. I don't know, you know what I mean? But overall, like, that's just basically what you have. So if you get hit by Tsukiyomi, you're fucked. Like, you're absolutely fucked. You know what I mean? The only really argument you can have is if you think, like, people like Madara or Obito or whatever can be able to resist Tsukiyomi. And that's the interesting concept. Unfortunately, we don't really have, like, a guaranteed, like, definitive or concrete way to know if, you know, like, you can be able to negate or resist, you know, an MS Tsukiyomi or whatever from Itachi or things like that. You know, like, one thing, if it's Genjutsu, that's a whole different thing. But if it's, like, a hacks Genjutsu, like, you know, Kodo or fucking Tsukiyomi, like, I don't know about all that one, you know what I mean? And when it comes to that type of stuff, like, it's just kind of towards, like, there's plenty of ways to argue that, like, if you look at Itachi's eyes, Tsukiyomi, that's it, you're just done, like, GG, you know what I mean? Like, even like, Obito, out of all characters, you know what I mean, like, tells Itachi, like, do not use your Sharingan against me, blah, blah, like, that's basically the deal, and then, sure, I'll cooperate with you, help you, and then, you know, yada, 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 okay? So if Obito's, like, you know, worried and being precautious and telling him to not use the Sharingan against him, whatever, etc., like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Like, come on. You know, like, so there's many things you can kind of bring up and say and argue in favor for Itachi for Tsukiyomi. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's technically Itachi's best win con, if I'm really being honest with you, when it comes to the Tsukiyomi, because Madara is a very prideful, you know, confident person. And he would, I know for a fucking sure, he would definitely look into an Uchiha's eyes, even if they had Mangekyo. He wouldn't give a fuck, you know, whether if he was 3-Tomo or MS. And, you know, and if that's the case, then Itachi just instant Tsukiyomi, and then, who knows, that could probably be a W, you know, like, we don't know. That is, in my opinion, the best win con Itachi could possibly even have. But, you know, other than that, that's basically about it. And obviously that would have to be a version like either MS Madara, you know what I mean, or the highest version that, you know, if you're really trying to fucking highball Itachi, is like EMS Madara, you know what I mean? Or, once again, Kid Madara, but I think Itachi would destroy Kid Madara. That's just me. So, but either way, you know, that's kind of what you're working with. Like I said, it's an interesting point to bring up. I don't really agree with that. I disagree with it, and I feel like there's plenty of evidence to say otherwise. But once again, that's just me, you know. So, it's and there's also many statements that say you can only beat an MS with an MS. You know, you can't beat an MS user with a fucking 3-Tomo. It's just not how it works.
Renegade. So it's possible to break Tsukiyomi. Sasuke did it, and Madara's got better control over his dojutsu. And the reason I think that Itachi has to sort of build up to the bigger Tsukiyomis is whenever we see him using in part 1, we can tell that Kakashi's able to see him building chakra in his eye. That's why he tells Asuma and Kurenai to close their eye. So he's building up that chakra for a minute, then he puts Kakashi under, and he's extremely tired after that. He's extremely fatigued after that, to the point where he has to retreat from Guy and the rest of the Konoha ninja, when before he was literally just toying with them and winning. So whenever he uses it on Sasuke,
I don't know about that one. You know what's funny about that? There was a video Six was doing. I don't remember what it was, but he was actually like talking about Itachi. I don't remember what it was, or what the topic of the title was, but he was basically immediately shutting down all the people that try to downplay Itachi and be like, oh, like, just use Tsukiyomi once. He's immediately fatigued, or this or that, or he can't, you know, use his ability to whatever, blah, blah, you know. And Six immediately was like, shut the fuck up, blah, blah. Like, even sick Itachi could be spamming a Mataratsu, doing all these jutsus, does Tsukiyomi, and he's not fully fucking fatigued or, you know, struggling, whatever. So, I'm be real, I don't think that's the case at all. That was just more of an act of him to basically, you know, like, act like, oh, if he uses whatever, like, it takes a big fucking toll on him. We do know it does take a lot of chakra, but to sit here and say, like, oh, he got, like, crazy fatigued and weakened, like, I don't know about that one. That's a little weird, you know? So, I don't know why Six is saying that, because, like I said, there's a video I reacted to. It's either I reacted to or I just watched it, and he literally is, like, over here shitting on those people's arguments, or shutting that down, and be like, stop downplaying Itachi. But as a matter of fact, actually, I think it was against Obito. Yeah, it was his Itachi versus Obito video. So, I don't know where this is coming out of nowhere, but, you know what I mean? Like, this is kind of a whole other different viewpoint now, but maybe Six has changed his mind, and he's like, no, fuck it, Itachi really is just, you know, horrible when it comes to stamina and fatigue, and, and chakra. But I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm just saying right now that's not the case.
There doesn't seem to be a time dilation on it, because we know Itachi can control space, he can control time, but when you have the Sharingan or the Mangekyo Sharingan, Madara has both, you can resist the Genjutsu to some extent. So he doesn't seem to build it up versus.
He says he can resist. There's only one statement you can use to where you can kind of try to indicate that point that you could be able to resist to Tsukiyomi, but that's only one statement, and once again, that's when Itachi's fighting everybody and pulling the whole fucking act that he's like this evil guy and spy blah blah and saying shit to say shit. So we don't technically, that's, you know what I mean, like that's why the integrity of that statement is very questionable. You know what I mean? And there's many statements that he says that are just clearly contradicted and not legit at all. So it's not like I'm making that up either, or that it's not supported. And then not only that, when you, like I said, when you further analyze Naruto and you see him again, especially in Shippuden, etc., there's plenty of statements and feats where that's just not the case at all, where people cannot resist it. Sasuke couldn't resist it. Kakashi couldn't resist it, even in Shippuden. Like, he even immediately said whatever. Like, that's just not the case at all. You know what I mean? So not too sure what he means by all that, but, that's just not supported at all. Technically it's the opposite that's supported. So, but then again, that's just me. So
Sasuke, and then there's no time dilation. Sasuke ends up breaking it. So if Madara sees Itachi building up the chakra for a Tsukiyomi, that leaves him I'm not gonna say it leaves him wide open, but it leaves him open to getting attacked. Because we've never seen Itachi use jutsu while preparing to do a Tsukuyomi. A lot of people don't know, but the first part of Itachi versus Sasuke is, and
that's another thing I also disagree with. Like, he's saying that like Itachi has to like close his eyes and build up chakra, you know what I mean? Like some basically like some Kakashi shit, you know what I mean? Like when he first has Kamui and he has to like build up a shit of chakra and then he can finally use it on Date or whatever, some shit like that. That's not the case at all, because eventually Kakashi, out of all people, is able to just immediately utilize it and not have to like take forever to use it or build like chakra for a hot minute, That's not true at all. And that scene that he's even referring to, that's Itachi like just talking shit. He closes his eyes like, we're fear blah blah, and he immediately just activates it and there you go. Like, it doesn't take him like forever, or he has to like really charge it up. I don't know what he's on about with that. That's a little weird. And then not only that, like Itachi literally like uses Tsukiyomi and Amaterasu and all his abilities like instantaneously in Shippuden, so like I don't know what he's on about right now. Like, once again, my opinion is there's a lot of evidence that would suggest otherwise. So like, I feel like there's a lot of downplays happening with Itachi right now, which is really weird. Either way, it is what it is, like, I'm just saying, like, once again, I have no problem with Madara winning this fight. Plenty of arguments, and I feel like it's narratively, and objectively still in favor for Madara to win the fight. But like, just to sit here like and start downplaying Itachi this much, I don't know, bro. That's a little weird. Like, in my opinion, I feel like 6 is really downplaying him right now. But that's just me.
Genjutsu. We almost don't get to see any actual real fighting there. It's almost all Genjutsu. Even the shuriken throwing they were doing, that was all Genjutsu. So we don't ever get to see Itachi actually cast jutsu while building up for Tsukuyomi. So it's possible that while he's building up for Tsukuyomi, he has...
Well, one thing I will say too, though, like in the fight when he's fighting against like Killer B and KCM, like he does like a Sharingan against Genji. He does like a Sharingan Genjutsu against Killer B, and then like he's immediately already like using jutsus and attacks right after, whatever, blah blah. So like when you further watch Itachi, like while he does use Genjutsu, like he does have like other moves or other things like kind of planned in motion to utilize and do, and even when he's fighting Kakashi, like he's over here using like fucking a crazy amount of movesets and jutsu and combos, but like without even barely moving and shit, So I don't know, man. Like I feel like it's safe to say Itachi could still be able to, use his MS jutsu and move and you name it, etc. If anything, he was doing that while fighting Sasuke, So just kind of putting that out there too. But like he's over here like using the Amaterasu and you name it, and whatnot. But like I don't know, like that's just really weird. Like and also like against Kabuto too. Like he was using Amaterasu and moving, you name it, and whatnot, and fighting. So like I don't know, man. That's just weird. But that's just me.
to sort of stall with other things, and if not stall, then maybe just put fear into his opponents, like what he did with Kurenai, Asuma, and Kakashi, where Kakashi was just so scared, he just close your eyes, close your eyes. He didn't actually try to go attack him or anything. Now, Amaterasu, like I mentioned earlier, would get absorbed by Edo Madara.
Oh, and that's another thing that's another contradiction to that. When he fights Kakashi and Shippuden, he literally like he activates his MS, does like so he moves up on Kakashi, right? Grabs him, whatever, and then bam, does Tsukiyomi, and he does it on the Shadow Clone. So like he can move and then do Tsukiyomi and shit as well, Like I don't know what he's talking about. Like there's even that moment too. I almost forgot about that. So
Madara, especially maybe an even hotter Amaterasu, given how strong Itachi is when he's healthy, or how much stronger he should be. Even a possibly stronger Amaterasu might actually be able to burn Madara. We do know that all the Uchiha to some degree have a level of high heat resistance, because
that scan that he showed right there too, like he's over here moving his head, doing a Amaterasu. Like if something was to come at Itachi or whatever, he could definitely be able to dodge and and do shit. Like that's just, once again, it's just really weird to sit here and be like, oh, Itachi can't move or still interact while he's using his MS abilities. Like that just doesn't make sense. Like for him, like Obito is a prime example where he can move and use his MS at the same time. So like this is, in my opinion, there's plenty of evidence subjectively and objectively that you could, definitely argue in favor for, like, even while using your MS abilities, you're still able to react to things and move, etc. Like, that just doesn't make sense. And Itachi even does it against Kakashi, does it in his Edo fights and as well, So, I don't know. That's just weird.
That they build up in their chest and whatnot, the fire style they build up actually burns them, or it can, and then they, expel it, right? Because we know this because Sasuke, when he was a kid, he's training for, to master his fire style. He has to get some salve put on his cheeks because he burned his cheeks and whatnot. So the Uchiha have some level of heat resistance. However, it's supposed to be like incomparable to the amount of heat the Amaterasu can actually put off. So I wouldn't imagine that Madara could just physically tank an Amaterasu. But it is important to note, if Itachi uses Amaterasu, he gets fatigued more than Tsukiyomi.
So what I'll say this with the Madara, he's definitely not tanking Amaterasu. I mean, and the reason why is because like when Sasuke does his Amaterasu against Madara, it hits his armor, and Madara just like takes off all his armor, so this way he doesn't get burned. Like if he could just tank that shit, he would have just like let it burn right through the armor, and then just started getting burned and shit. And he didn't do that because he knew he would die. You know what I mean? And it's like Sasuke used the Mataratsu, never did Sasuke be like, oh wow, like the Mataratsu, he could just tank it, or I can't use the Mataratsu because he's just too strong, like it would just wouldn't hurt. Like none of that's indicated nothing. And once again with the whole armor scene, like the fact that Madara took off his armor to not get burned by the Amaterasu, in my opinion, that would go to show that he can't tank that. And that's a live Stage 1 Madara that we're talking about too, so come on.
He mentions this when he's running.
It was either a live Sage mode or non-Sage mode Madara. But he was blind though.
Away from Jiraiya, when he's fighting with Kisame, he says, not just the Tsukiyomi, but I was forced to use the Amaterasu as well. Or he says something along those lines. I don't think he says forced to use, but he says I had to use the Amaterasu as well. And that's what's taking me down. He's like, I need to rest for a few days. So I do acknowledge that it's not the only thing he used. However, he highlights it as the thing that probably used the most chakra. So if he gets that
once
off,
again, he's just saying that because he's a spy. He doesn't want to be fighting everyone. He could have continued to fight, and he would have been perfectly fine. Once again, Itachi's just bullshitting. So like I'm gonna be real. Like the Six is doing some major downplays with Itachi right now, in my opinion. But that's just me. So I don't know why he's downplaying him so much.
And then let's say he misses, or Madara is able to summon his Susanoo arm to block it. Itachi probably isn't going to be able to just keep shooting those off, right?
Bro, he does it against Sasuke. What do you mean? He does like a Mataratsu in the entire field. He's over here chasing Sasuke, whatnot. Like, come on, bro. Like, what is he on about?
I think the most we've seen him shoot is 4 against Sasuke.
And this has been more like mainly a fucking Itachi video, basically. Like, he hasn't really talked about Madara yet, to be honest.
Maybe 5. But in that fight, we know he's trying to waste chakra to make it believable that Sasuke could actually beat him, because he don't want Sasuke to figure out who he actually is or whatever, right? So it's possibly just wasting chakra there. So I don't think Itachi would just waste chakra firing them over and over at Madara, especially if Itachi sees that Madara can just block it with the Susanoo arm. I do
believe Madara would have enough reaction time to use Susanoo to block it. I do believe that. You know what I mean? And it's arguable. You can't concretely, definitively prove, but you know that Madara could just be able to dodge it with just his speed alone. But I do believe, like, if Madara would use Susanoo, that he would just do that in character to just block it and react, and then there you go, and he can't do anything. Like, that is his guaranteed bare minimum. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I love Itachi, but he definitely will be able to block it with his Susanoo.
I have a pretty good gauge of Itachi's skill. That comes from the statement where Tobirama says that the Edo Tensei, nowadays this improved Edo Tensei, will revive close to their original power. Now, we do know that this doesn't mean that Itachi is close to his sick power or below his sick power, because sick Itachi is directly stated to be weaker than EMS Sasuke, because it says that when Sasuke transplants Itachi's eyes, his techniques and eye techniques surpass that of Itachi's. But then we see Edo Itachi performing on par with or better than EMS Sasuke.
Yeah, he was definitely way better and stronger. Like, when Sasuke went to grab Itachi with his Susanoo, like, Itachi just smacked it away with his Susanoo. He's like, get that shit out of here, don't touch me. So yeah, like, Edo Itachi was stronger than EMS Sasuke as an Edo. So this would definitely be referring to a live Itachi when he's sick. If it's like a live Itachi at his prime, then that Itachi would still also be stronger than Sasuke.
Is stronger than he was as he was a sick man. So Edo Itachi should be close in power to healthy Itachi. Basically, the idea I'm getting at here is Itachi is not going to be much stronger as quote-unquote healthy Itachi as a lot of people would like to assume. Like, it's not like he's going to be double the strength of Edo Itachi or something like that. The most you can imply, since Tobirama says close, like, let's just lowball it to 51% is close to him. Like, it's closer to than further away. So 51% is close to Tobirama, right? So the most you could apply is Edo Itachi would get maybe a 49% boost off of being healthy and alive, right? In that case, I guess it is sort of close to 2 times or whatever. But I don't think it's enough to make up the difference between him and Madara, because like I said earlier, EMS Sasuke somewhat comparable to Itachi, and Sasuke gets stronger multiple times. We see him get the curse mark amp from Jugo on his Susanoo, which can be between 2 to 10 times as far as we know, and he still doesn't catch up to Madara. So it's pretty unlikely that Itachi, after gaining that amp that may be close to 2 times amp, would be strong enough to take down Madara. I mean, especially when you consider the fact that Sasuke, on top of Jugo's amp, got an amp from Naruto's Kurama chakra as well. So he's got the Kurama cloak, Naruto helping him, and Jugo. He still supposedly doesn't catch up to Madara. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that Itachi, after getting these amps, still wouldn't be able to beat Madara. Madara is probably still just the strongest Uchiha. Madara, if he needs to put down this Itachi, obviously he can just physically overwhelm him. It's not.
Well, I don't know. That's basically it for the video. So I'm gonna be real with you. I was kind of neutral with this video. I'm not gonna like or dislike it. I was definitely like a neutral. So, like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. That's just me. Like, it was a good video, but I wasn't really enjoying the downplays for Itachi. Like, that was really, really weird. Because you didn't have to downplay Itachi to basically just say and prove that Madara wins. Like, you didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being honest with you. I do feel like MS Madara, though, versus, like, you know, Edo Itachi or Prime Alive Itachi, that would be a pretty decent fight. I do think that's interesting, in my opinion. Kid Itachi would win. Kid Madara Itachi would beat him. If it's EMS Madara or anything like that or above, like, Itachi's not fucking with that. I'm sorry, I don't care. But other than that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty good video. It's enjoyable. You know, everything he did basically, except for the most part, was pretty good and solid and made sense and legit. So, but like I said, the only thing I wasn't really feeling is just the whole down plays and stuff. But like I said, you guys let me know down in the comments down below what you think and believe. What do you think how it would go if it came to like MS Madara or Kid Madara, and fuck it, if you really wanted to even consider it and think it's even a fight, EMS Madara as well. Let me know what you think. Who would win? Like, does Itachi win? Does Madara win? Whatever, etc. Pretty sure we all can agree that Madara would beat Itachi, but you let me know. I do believe with the MS Madara that it could go either way. You could definitely be arguing for Itachi or for Madara to still get it because he's just that guy. He's Madara. but either way, you guys let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction video. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know. Peace.